In the heart of East Africa, where the ancient rhythms of life pulse through endless savannas, a single waterway commands the destiny of millions. This is not merely a river. This is the great arterial lifeline that transforms the landscape from parched wasteland to emerald paradise and back again, in an eternal cycle that has shaped evolution itself. When the great rains arrive, it swells into a torrential highway of life. When drought claims the land, it becomes a precious thread barely connecting pools of hope. Along its banks, the greatest wildlife spectacle on Earth unfolds in scenes of triumph and tragedy, predator and prey, life and death. This is where survival is not merely existing, but excelling against impossible odds. Where mothers risk everything for their young, where the weak are claimed by the strong, where every sunrise brings new challenges and every sunset marks another victory for those who endure. The Mara River region spans across 2 nations and 2 worlds. In Kenya, the MASAI Mara National Reserve protects nearly 600 square miles of pristine wilderness. Across the border in Tanzania, the northern Serengeti extends this sanctuary across thousands more square miles. Together, they form an ecosystem so vast, so complex, and so perfectly balanced that it represents nature's greatest masterpiece. Welcome to the Mara River, where life itself writes its most dramatic chapters. As the first light of dawn creeps across the Mara landscape, painting the acacia trees in silhouettes against the golden sky, a low rumble begins to build in the distance. It starts as barely a vibration in the ground, something felt rather than heard. But within minutes it grows into a thunderous drumbeat that seems to shake the very earth itself. The Great Migration has arrived. The wildebeest emerge from the morning mist like a living river of brown and black, their numbers so vast that they stretch from horizon to horizon. Individual animals disappear into a sea of movement, a collective organism driven by instincts older than the landscape itself. Each wildebeest weighs nearly 400 pounds, their muscular body built for the endless journey that defines their existence. A cow calls out in the distinctive new bark that gives these animals their alternative name, searching frantically for her calf in the chaos of thousands of hooves and bodies. Her calls are answered by a small brown form that pushes through the crowd, bleating in recognition. The reunion lasts only seconds before both mother and calf are swept up again in the relentless forward motion of the herd. The lead animals approach the Mara River crossing with visible hesitation. The water runs deep and fast, swollen by recent rains. On the far bank, crocodiles have already begun to gather, ancient predators drawn by the promise of an easy meal. But the pressure from behind is inexorable. More wildebeest arrive every minute until the riverbank is packed with thousands of animals, all pressed forward by the unstoppable momentum of the migration. Suddenly, as if responding to some invisible signal, the first wildebeest launches itself into the water. Within seconds, the entire herd follows, creating a cascade of brown bodies plunging into the churning river. Some animals are swept downstream by the current. Others struggle to find footing on the muddy banks. A few fall victim to the crocodiles that have waited all year for this moment. But the vast majority make it across, driven by the ancient imperative that has guided their species for over 1 million years. During the calving season, the Serengeti Plains witness one of nature's most remarkable displays of synchronized birth. Within a 3-week period, over 400,000 wildebeest calves are born, timing their arrival to coincide with the richest grazing of the year. These newborns must be able to run within minutes of birth, as predators are always nearby, ready to claim any calf that cannot keep up with the herd. The The wildebeest journey covers over 1,200 miles in a clockwise circuit that takes them through some of Africa's most challenging terrain. They are ecosystem engineers. They're grazing and trampling, creating conditions that support hundreds of other species. Their dung fertilizes the grasslands, while their migration routes become highways used by other herbivores throughout the year. As the great herds move toward the northern reaches of their range, following the scent of fresh grass and the distant promise of rain, they leave behind trampled earth and scattered dung that will soon sprout new life. But they also leave behind thousands of animals that did not survive the journey, their sacrifice feeding the predators and scavengers that depend on the migration for their own survival. In the wake of the wildebeest, scattered groups of zebras begin to appear, their black and white stripes creating mesmerizing patterns as they move across the golden grassland. Where the wildebeest are followers, driven by ancient instincts, the plain zebra are leaders, pioneers who often guide the great herds toward fresh grazing areas. A stallion stands alert on a small rise, his head held high as he scans the horizon for danger. His stripes are as unique as human fingerprints, a pattern that will remain unchanged throughout his life. The black and white bars serve multiple purposes, confusing biting flies, making it difficult for predators to single out individual animals from a group, and helping with temperature regulation in the intense African heat. Below him, his family group grazes peacefully. A mare with a young foal stays close to his side, while two other mares and their offspring spread out across the available grass. This is the basic unit of zebra society, a harem group led by a dominant stallion who will defend his mares and their young against all threats. The foal is less than a week old, its legs still slightly unsteady, but already strong enough to keep up with the group. It stays pressed against its mother's side, learning to recognize her unique stripe pattern and scent. This imprinting is crucial for survival, as zebra herds can contain hundreds of individuals, and a lost foal has little chance of surviving on its own. Suddenly, the stallion whinnies a sharp warning call. In the distance, a pride of lions has appeared, moving with the slow, purposeful gait that suggests they are hunting. The zebra family immediately tightens their formation, adults positioning themselves between the predators and the young. Their strategy is not to run immediately, but to assess the threat and respond accordingly. Plain zebras are remarkably intelligent and adaptable. They can survive in areas too harsh for many other grazing species, able to extract nutrition from coarse grasses that cattle and sheep cannot digest. Their social structure is complex, with family groups joining together to form larger herds for protection, while maintaining their individual identity within the larger group. During the dry season, zebras become crucial pathfinders for the entire ecosystem. Their excellent memory for water sources and their ability to dig shallow wells in dry riverbeds often provides water for many other species. They are the engineers of survival, creating resources that benefit the entire community of grassland animals. As the zebra family moves off toward better grazing, their hoofbeats create small clouds of dust that hang in the still morning air. The stallion brings up the rear, constantly vigilant, his ears swiveling to catch the slightest sound that might indicate danger. His dedication to his family is absolute, a commitment that will last until death, or until he is overthrown by a younger, stronger male. The dust kicked up by the zebras drifts across the savanna, where it settles on the hide of a massive bull elephant who stands motionless in the shade of a large acacia tree. The African elephant raises his trunk briefly to test the air, his keen sense of smell analyzing the thousands of scents that tell him the story of his environment. This bull is in his prime, nearly 40 years old and weighing close to 6 tons. His tusks, worn smooth by decades of use, extend nearly 6 feet from his skull. Every inch of his massive frame speaks of power and wisdom earned through countless seasons of survival in one of Africa's most challenging environments. He takes a step forward, and the ground seems to tremble under his weight. At his feet, a small pool of water has collected in a depression he created by digging with his tusks and feet. This is not just for his own use, but for the countless smaller animals that will drink from it throughout the day. Elephants are ecosystem architects, their activities creating resources that support entire communities of wildlife. The bull's ears spread wide as he fans himself against the rising heat of the day. Those ears are not just cooling devices, but sophisticated sensory organs capable of detecting subsonic vibrations from other elephants up to 6 miles away. Through these infrasonic calls, elephants maintain communication networks that span vast distances, coordinating movements and sharing information about water sources, food, and danger. In the distance, a family group of elephants approaches, led by an ancient matriarch, whose tusks are worn nearly to stubs from a lifetime of foraging. She is the repository of her family's knowledge, carrying in her memory the locations of water sources that may be used only once every few years during the worst droughts. Her experience and wisdom are literally matters of life and death for her family. The bull watches their approach with mild interest, but makes no move to join them. Male elephants typically live solitary lives once they reach maturity, coming together with family groups only during mating seasons. His independence is a choice, not a rejection, and he is welcome to rejoin the group whenever he desires. As the family group passes, a young calf breaks away from its mother and approaches the bull with the fearless curiosity of youth. The massive bull gently extends his trunk, touching the youngster in a gesture of greeting and recognition. For a moment, 6 tons of raw power becomes infinitely gentle, demonstrating the complex emotional lives that make elephants among the most compelling animals on Earth. The matriarch calls softly, and the calf immediately returns to her side. The family group continues their journey toward the river, where they will spend the hottest part of the day in the water, bathing, drinking, and playing. The bull watches them go, then returns to his own quiet contemplation of the world around him. African elephants can live up to 70 years in the wild, their long lives allowing them to accumulate knowledge that benefits not just their own families, but the entire ecosystem. They remember drought years and the locations of emergency water sources. They know which trees provide the best bark for nutrition, and which plants have medicinal properties. This knowledge makes them keystone species, animals whose presence is essential for the health of their entire ecosystem. As the elephant family disappears toward the river, their trumpeting calls echoing across the savanna, the landscape seems to hold its breath in the growing heat of the day. But in the shade of a cluster of acacia trees, movement catches the eye. A pair of golden eyes peer out from the shadows, patient and calculating. The African lion lies motionless in the dappled shade, her tawny coat blending perfectly with the dried grass around her. She is a mature female, the primary hunter for her pride, and every muscle in her powerful body speaks of controlled energy waiting to be unleashed. Her gaze is fixed on a group of Thompson's gazelles grazing about 200 yards away, completely unaware of the predator watching them. This lioness weighs nearly 300 pounds, her body built for explosive power rather than endurance. Her shoulder muscles are massive, capable of bringing down prey many times her size through sheer strength and precision. But right now, she is all patience, waiting for the perfect moment to begin her stalk. Behind her, hidden in thicker cover, the rest of her pride waits. 2 other adult females lie in positions that will allow them to intercept any gazelles that might escape the primary attack. A large male, his magnificent mane dark with age and authority, watches from a kopje about half a mile away, ready to claim any kill his pride makes. The lioness begins her stalk, moving with fluid grace across the open ground. Each step is placed with infinite care, her body held low to minimize her profile against the horizon. She uses every available cover, freezing behind scattered bushes and termite mounds, becoming invisible through sheer skill and patience. The gazelles continue grazing, but their apparent calm is deceptive. Their survival depends on constant vigilance, and while they feed, several animals always keep their heads up, scanning for danger. Their large eyes are positioned to provide nearly 360-degree vision, and their hearing is acute enough to detect the softest footfall. Suddenly, one of the gazelles raises its head sharply, staring directly at the lioness's position. For a moment, predator and prey lock eyes across the golden grassland. Then the gazelle stamps its foot and snorts, a warning call that sends the entire herd bounding away in a series of graceful leaps. The lioness makes her charge, exploding from cover with incredible speed. For a few seconds, she runs at nearly 40 miles per hour, her powerful legs eating up the distance between herself and her prey. But the gazelles are built for speed and endurance, and within moments they have opened up a gap that even she cannot close. She pulls up after 100 yards, panting heavily in the heat. Lion hunts fail far more often than they succeed, and this lioness is experienced enough to know when to conserve her energy for a better opportunity. She walks back to the shade, where she will rest until the cooler hours of evening provide another chance to hunt. Lions are the ultimate social predators, their cooperative hunting strategies allowing them to take prey that would be impossible for a solitary hunter. During the night hours, when their hunting is most effective, they coordinate their attacks with precision that rivals military operations. The pride's success depends not just on individual skill, but on teamwork, communication, and the accumulated experience of multiple generations of hunters. As the lioness settles back into the shade, her breathing gradually returning to normal, the afternoon heat creates shimmering mirages across the savanna. The MASAI giraffe approaches a grove of acacia trees with the unhurried confidence of an animal that has few natural enemies. Standing nearly 18 feet tall, this bull giraffe surveys his domain from a height that provides him with views extending for miles in every direction. His distinctive reticulated pattern of patches covers his hide like a living map, each animal's pattern as unique as a human fingerprint. He extends his remarkable neck, reaching up to browse on acacia leaves that no other animal can access. His purple tongue, nearly 2 feet long, wraps around branches with prehensile precision, stripping away leaves while avoiding the vicious thorns that protect the trees from most other herbivores. This is his exclusive dining room, a vertical habitat that he shares with no other large mammal. The giraffe's height is both his greatest advantage and his most significant challenge. His cardiovascular system is a marvel of evolution, with a heart that weighs over 20 pounds and blood pressure that would be fatal to most other mammals. Special valves in his neck arteries prevent blood from rushing to his brain when he lowers his head to drink, while his legs are wrapped in incredibly tight skin that acts like natural compression stockings. A younger giraffe approaches, and the two bulls engage in a ritualized form of combat called necking. They swing their massive heads at each other, using their skulls as clubs in contests that can last for hours. These battles rarely result in serious injury, but establish hierarchies that determine breeding rights and access to the best feeding areas. From his elevated position, the giraffe serves as an early warning system for the entire ecosystem. His excellent eyesight allows him to spot predators from miles away, and his distinctive alarm calls alert other animals to danger long before they would detect it themselves. Zebras and antelope often graze near giraffes, taking advantage of this natural surveillance system. The giraffe's feeding habits also benefit the ecosystem in unexpected ways. As he moves through the acacia groves, he spreads seeds in his dung across vast distances, helping to maintain the genetic diversity of the tree populations. His browsing pressure keeps the canopies open, allowing sunlight to reach the ground and support the growth of grasses that feed other herbivores. As the afternoon progresses, the giraffe moves between different trees, sampling the available browse with the discriminating palate of a gourmand. He can detect subtle differences in leaf chemistry that indicate which trees offer the best nutrition, selecting his meals with precision that comes from millions of years of evolutionary refinement. While the giraffe browses peacefully in the acacia canopy, far below among the same trees moves a predator so perfectly adapted to this environment that it seems to have been crafted by the shadows themselves. The African leopard picks its way silently through the undergrowth, every movement fluid and precise. This female leopard weighs about 130 pounds, her spotted coat providing camouflage so effective that she can disappear even when standing in plain sight. Her rosettes are not just beautiful patterns, but sophisticated camouflage that breaks up her outline among the dappled light and shadow of the acacia forest. Each spot is placed with evolutionary precision, creating a natural ghillie suit that makes her nearly invisible to both prey and competitors. She pauses at the base of a large fever tree, testing the bark with her claws. The gouges she leaves are territorial markers, combined with scent from glands between her toes to create a complex communication system that other leopards can read like a newspaper. Her territory extends over nearly 30 square miles, and she must patrol it regularly to maintain her claim. Above her, cached in the fork of the tree, hangs the remains of an impala she killed 2 days ago. Leopards are the only big cats that routinely cache their kills in trees, a behavior that allows them to feed over several days without losing their meal to scavengers. The skill required to haul a carcass that weighs as much as the leopard herself up into a tree demonstrates the incredible strength hidden in her deceptively slender frame. The leopard begins to climb, her retractable claws finding purchase in the bark with ease. She moves up the vertical trunk as easily as walking on level ground, her balance and coordination perfect. At the cached kill, she feeds efficiently, tearing off strips of meat with teeth designed for both cutting and crushing. Her feeding is interrupted by a sound from below. She freezes, every sense alert, her spotted coat blending so perfectly with the bark that she becomes invisible. A small group of baboons has appeared at the base of the tree, chattering nervously as they catch her scent. Baboons are among the few animals that actively hunt leopards, and while she could easily kill any individual baboon, a group of them poses a serious threat. The leopard waits motionlessly as the baboons move away, understanding that patience is often the difference between life and death in her world. Only when they have disappeared completely does she resume feeding, her yellow eyes constantly scanning the surrounding area for new threats or opportunities. Leopards are the most adaptable of the big cats, capable of surviving in environments from dense forest to open desert. In the Mara ecosystem, they occupy a unique niche as medium-sized predators, taking prey that is too small for lions, but too large for smaller predators. Their solitary lifestyle allows them to exist at higher densities than other big cats, with territories that often overlap in complex patterns. As darkness approaches, the leopard will descend from her tree and begin the night's hunting. Her nocturnal lifestyle reduces competition with lions and gives her access to prey species that are most active after dark. She is a creature of shadows and silence, perfectly adapted to life in the margins between day and night. As the leopard settles in to wait for darkness, the late afternoon air begins to shimmer with heat waves rising from the sun-baked earth. In the distance, a cloud of dust marks the approach of something moving at tremendous speed across the open plains. The dust cloud grows larger and more defined, until suddenly, breaking free from the haze, comes the fastest land animal on Earth. The cheetah runs with a grace that seems to defy physics. her spotted coat flowing like liquid gold as she accelerates toward her prey. Every aspect of her anatomy is designed for speed, from her lightweight build to her oversized heart and lungs, from her non-retractable claws that act like cleats to her flexible spine that allows her to extend her stride to over 20 feet. She is chasing a young Thompson's gazelle, her target selected with the calculating precision that comes from a lifetime of hunting. The gazelle runs with desperate energy, employing the zigzag escape tactics that are its only hope against such overwhelming speed. But the cheetah anticipates each turn, her large eyes tracking every movement with predatory intensity. At 50 miles per hour, then 60, then 70, the cheetah closes the distance. Her stride becomes a series of bounds, spending more time airborne than touching the ground. Her respiratory rate increases to over 150 breaths per minute as her body operates at the absolute limits of mammalian performance. The chase covers nearly 400 yards in less than 20 seconds. The gazelle makes a final desperate turn, but the cheetah has anticipated this move. She reaches out with a massive paw, striking the gazelle's hindquarters and sending it tumbling across the grass. Before her prey can regain its feet, she has it by the throat, her grip precise and humane, cutting off the air supply without damaging the meat she will need for sustenance. The kill is quick and clean, but the cheetah's problems are just beginning. Her explosive sprint has left her panting heavily, her body temperature dangerously elevated. She must cool down before she can begin feeding, a vulnerable period that attracts the attention of other predators and scavengers. While she waits, a spotted hyena appears in the distance, drawn by the commotion of the chase. The cheetah eyes the approaching scavenger nervously. Despite her speed, she is the lightest of the big cats, built for running rather than fighting. A single hyena could easily steal her kill, and she lacks the power to defend it through force. The hyena approaches boldly, knowing that the cheetah will not fight. With obvious reluctance, the cheetah abandons her kill and trots away, her hunt successful but ultimately unrewarded. This is the price of her specialization, the trade-off she makes for being the fastest runner in the animal kingdom. Cheetahs have evolved to occupy a very specific niche in the predator community. They hunt during daylight hours when other big cats are resting, reducing direct competition for prey. Their speed allows them to catch animals that would be safe from other predators, but their light build means they often lose their kills to stronger scavengers. Female cheetahs lead solitary lives except when raising cubs, ranging over territories that can extend for hundreds of square miles. Males sometimes form coalitions, usually with their brothers, that allow them to defend smaller territories and maintain better access to females. These coalitions are among the most enduring partnerships in the animal kingdom, often lasting for the entire lives of the individuals involved. As the frustrated cheetah disappears into the heat haze, her distinctive spotted silhouette eventually lost in the vastness of the savanna, the approaching evening brings a change in the ecosystem's rhythm. The harsh heat of the day begins to fade, and with it comes the emergence of animals that have spent the daylight hours hidden in whatever shade they could find. From a rocky outcrop that provides panoramic views across the grassland, a spotted hyena raises her head to test the cooling air. Her powerful jaws, capable of crushing bones that would break the teeth of lions, work methodically on the remains of her latest meal. This is no scavenger waiting for scraps, but a skilled predator who has just returned from a successful hunt. The hyena is a matriarch, the dominant female in a clan that numbers over 30 individuals. Her social rank is absolute, and even the largest males in her clan will defer to her authority. Hyena society is a matriarchy where females outrank all males, and dominance is passed from mother to daughter in lines that can persist for generations. She stands and stretches, her powerful hindquarters and sloping back creating the distinctive profile that makes hyenas instantly recognizable. Despite their somewhat awkward appearance, hyenas are capable of running at speeds over 40 miles per hour and can maintain this pace for several miles, making them persistence hunters of extraordinary endurance. From her rocky perch, she surveys the territory that her clan controls. In the distance, she can see several other clan members returning from their own hunting expeditions, their distinctive whooping calls carrying across the cooling air. These vocalizations are not random noise but complex communications that convey information about individual identity, social status, and emotional state. A juvenile hyena approaches, and the matriarch greets her with the ritualized submission displays that maintain the complex social hierarchy of the clan. The younger animal rolls on her back, exposing her belly in a gesture that acknowledges the matriarch's dominance while seeking her protection and approval. Hyenas have one of the most complex social systems of any carnivore, with alliances and rivalries that can span generations. Their intelligence rivals that of primates, and they have been observed using tools and solving problems that challenge animals with much larger brains. Their social memory is extraordinary, allowing them to recognize hundreds of individuals and remember their relationships for years. As darkness approaches, the hyena clan begins to prepare for the night's hunting. They are capable of taking prey as large as buffalo, using coordinated pack tactics that demonstrate remarkable intelligence and communication. Their success rate in hunts exceeds that of lions, making them one of Africa's most effective predators. The matriarch's calls echo across the darkening savanna, answered by similar calls from clan members scattered across their territory. Soon, the night will belong to the hyenas, and their distinctive whoops and laughs will provide the soundtrack for another chapter in the eternal drama of predator and prey. While the hyenas prepare for their nocturnal hunts, another predator stirs in the gathering darkness. From a den hidden among the roots of a giant baobab tree, the distinctive black-backed ears of an African wild dog appear, followed by the animal's distinctively patterned coat. This is the alpha female of a pack that represents one of the most endangered predators in Africa. Fewer than 7,000 wild dogs remain in the wild, making every individual precious beyond measure. Her coat pattern of brown, black, and white patches is unique, serving as individual identification that allows pack members to recognize each other instantly, even in the chaos of a high-speed chase. She emerges from the den followed by 8 pups, their oversized ears and playful demeanor contrasting sharply with the serious business of survival that governs their lives. These pups are the future of the pack, and their survival depends on the coordinated efforts of every adult in the group. The alpha female's mate appears, returning from a scouting expedition with news of potential prey. Wild dogs communicate through a complex system of vocalizations, body language, and scent marking that allows them to coordinate hunts with precision that would be impressive in a military unit. Their social structure is built around cooperation rather than dominance, with every member of the pack contributing to the welfare of the group. As the adults prepare for the evening hunt, the pups retreat to the safety of the den. They will remain here under the protection of designated babysitters, while the rest of the pack ranges across their territory in search of prey. Wild dog packs can cover over 20 miles in a single night, their tireless energy allowing them to pursue fleeing prey until exhaustion forces surrender. The alpha female leads her pack in a greeting ceremony that strengthens social bonds and prepares them psychologically for the hunt ahead. They whine and chatter to each other, touching noses and reinforcing the relationships that make their extraordinary hunting success possible. Wild dogs have the highest hunting success rate of any large predator in Africa, succeeding in over 80% of their attempts. This success comes from their intelligence, endurance, and perfect coordination. They hunt as a team, with individuals taking specific roles such as chasers, interceptors, and finishers. Their hunting strategy is based on exhaustion rather than stealth. They select their prey and then pursue it relentlessly, running at speeds up to 40 miles per hour for miles if necessary. Few animals can maintain their top speed for more than a few minutes, but wild dogs can run at high speed for an hour or more, wearing down even the strongest prey through sheer persistence. As the pack disappears into the darkness, their hunting calls echoing across the savanna, they leave behind empty grassland that seems peaceful in the moonlight. In the shallow waters near the riverbank, where the Mara River forms a quiet backwater surrounded by papyrus and fever trees, a pair of ancient eyes breaks the surface. Only the nostrils, eyes, and top of the skull are visible, creating an almost mythical appearance that has terrified and fascinated humans for thousands of years. The Nile crocodile lies motionless in the water, a perfect predator unchanged by 200 million years of evolution. This massive male stretches nearly 16 feet from nose to tail and weighs over 1,500 pounds. His hide is armored with bony plates called scutes that provide protection while allowing the flexibility needed for his lightning-fast strikes. He has been waiting in this position for over 3 hours, demonstrating the infinite patience that makes crocodiles such successful predators. His metabolism is so efficient that he can survive for months without feeding, allowing him to wait for the perfect opportunity, rather than expending energy on uncertain attacks. A small herd of impala approaches the water's edge to drink, their delicate hooves creating tiny splashes as they test the shallows for safety. The crocodile's eyes track their movement with predatory intensity, but he remains motionless. These antelope are too small to justify the energy expenditure of an attack. The real opportunity comes when a zebra stallion approaches, leading his family to the water. The stallion is cautious, stepping carefully into the shallows while scanning the surface for any sign of danger. His experience has taught him that waterholes are among the most dangerous places in the African wilderness. The crocodile begins to move, so slowly that the motion is almost imperceptible. He sinks lower in the water until only his eyes remain above the surface, drifting like a floating log toward the drinking zebras. His powerful tail provides propulsion while his legs remain tucked against his body, creating no disturbance in the water. The zebra stallion takes another step into the water, bending his striped neck down to drink. This is the moment of maximum vulnerability, when his head is lowered and his attention focused on the water's surface. The crocodile is now within striking distance, every muscle in his prehistoric body coiled for the explosive attack that will determine success or failure. But the stallion's survival instincts, honed by generations of evolution, save him. Something, perhaps a slight change in the water's movement or an unconscious recognition of danger, causes him to step back quickly. The crocodile's strike misses by inches, his massive jaws snapping shut on empty air with a sound like a gunshot. The zebras scatter in panic, their hooves kicking up sprays of water as they retreat to the safety of dry land. The crocodile sinks back beneath the surface, his failure complete, but his patience undiminished. He will wait for the next opportunity, whether it comes in minutes, hours, or days. Nile crocodiles are apex predators that have survived virtually unchanged since the age of dinosaurs. Their success comes from their ability to remain motionless for extended periods, their devastating bite force of over 3,000 pounds per square inch, and their opportunistic hunting style that allows them to take prey, ranging from fish to buffalo. During the dry season, when water levels drop and prey animals are forced to use fewer and fewer drinking spots, crocodiles concentrate in the remaining pools. These become killing grounds where the ancient reptiles can ambush animals that have no choice but to risk the water for the sake of survival. The Great Migration brings the crocodiles their richest feeding opportunities, when thousands of wildebeest and zebras must cross the river to reach fresh grazing. During these crossings, the normally solitary crocodiles may gather in groups of 50 or more, creating feeding frenzies that can last for days. As the frustrated crocodile settles back into his patient vigil, the waters around him begin to show signs of other life. The surface dimples with the feeding activity of fish, while waterbirds probe the shallows for invertebrates. Even in the presence of such a formidable predator, life finds a way to flourish. From the reeds that line the riverbank, where the crocodile continues his patient wait, comes the sound of heavy breathing and the splash of water being displaced by something much larger than fish. Through the papyrus stems, the massive gray bulk of a hippopotamus becomes visible, her small ears twitching as she monitors the sounds of the African night. This female hippo weighs nearly 4,000 pounds, making her one of the largest land animals in Africa. Despite her bulky appearance, she moves through the water with surprising grace, her dense bones allowing her to walk along the river bottom, while her buoyant fat keeps her stable in the current. Her small eyes, ears, and nostrils are positioned on top of her skull, allowing her to remain almost completely submerged while still being able to breathe and monitor her surroundings. She surfaces near a sandbank where several other hippos are resting, their massive bodies creating living islands in the slow-moving water. The social dynamics of hippopods are complex, with dominant bulls controlling territories that can extend for several hundred yards along the riverbank. Females and their young are generally tolerated within these territories, but subordinate males must remain on the periphery or face violent confrontation. The female hippo's calf surfaces beside her, a miniature version of its mother that weighs only about 100 pounds. The youngster can hold its breath for only a few minutes compared to its mother's 5-minute capacity, so it must surface frequently to breathe. The mother guides her calf to shallow water where it can nurse while standing on the bottom, the rich milk providing the nutrition needed for rapid growth. As darkness deepens, the hippos begin to prepare for their nightly journey to the grasslands. Despite spending their days in the water, hippos are actually terrestrial animals that must return to land each night to graze. Their semi-aquatic lifestyle is an adaptation that allows them to avoid the heat of the African sun while still accessing the vast grasslands that provide their food. The female hippo leads her calf toward the bank, following well-worn paths created by generations of hippos making this same journey. These hippo highways extend for miles inland, creating corridors that are used by many other animals. The paths are marked by dung middens, where hippos deposit their waste, spreading nutrients from the river environment far into the surrounding grasslands. On land, hippos become surprisingly agile despite their bulk. They can run at speeds up to 30 miles per hour, faster than most humans can sprint. Their wide mouths, armed with canine teeth that can grow over a foot long, make them one of Africa's most dangerous animals. They kill more humans than any other large animal on the continent, their territorial aggression and protective instincts making them formidable opponents. The mother hippo's grazing is methodical and efficient. Her wide mouth crops grass like a living lawnmower, and she can consume up to 80 pounds of vegetation in a single night. Her digestive system is designed to extract maximum nutrition from grass, with a complex stomach that allows her to process cellulose efficiently. As dawn approaches, the hippos must return to the water before the sun's heat becomes unbearable. Their skin produces a natural sunscreen that appears red in certain light. But even this protection is insufficient against the intense African sun. The journey back to the river is urgent, with the entire pod moving in single file along their established paths. The female hippo and her calf slip back into the water just as the first light of dawn touches the horizon, their bodies disappearing beneath the surface in a series of gentle ripples. Above them, the sky begins to lighten, and with it comes the stirring of the daytime hunters, who will soon replace the nocturnal predators in the eternal cycle of life and death. As the hippos settle into their daytime refuge, the shallow waters around them come alive with the activity of countless smaller creatures. Among these, one stands out for its incredible abundance and ecological importance. Legs allow her to wade through water that would be too deep for most other birds, while her flexible neck enables her to probe the muddy bottom for the small fish, frogs, and invertebrates that make up the bulk of her diet. The crane's breeding plumage is in full display, her red throat sac inflated and her crown feathers erected in a magnificent fan. She begins the elaborate courtship dance that has made her species one of the most celebrated birds in Africa, leaping into the air with wings spread wide, her calls echoing across the water in a series of trumpeting notes that can be heard for miles. Her mate responds from the opposite bank, and together they perform a duet that combines dancing, calling, and ritualized bowing. This pair bonding ceremony strengthens the relationship between the two birds and prepares them for the demanding task of raising their young in one of Africa's most challenging environments. The nest they have built is a massive platform of reeds and grass, constructed in a shallow area where the water provides protection from terrestrial predators. The female has laid 2 eggs, pale blue shells that she and her mate will incubate for just over a month. During this period, one parent will always remain on the nest while the other feeds, a commitment that requires perfect coordination and trust. Gray-crowned cranes are omnivorous, their diet including everything from insects and small fish to seeds and shoots of aquatic plants. They are particularly fond of the protein-rich termites that emerge in massive swarms during the rainy season, and they can often be seen following the migration herds to feed on the insects disturbed by thousands of hooves. The crane's feeding behavior benefits the entire wetland ecosystem. As she probes the mud with her bill, she aerates the sediment and helps maintain the health of the aquatic plants. Her movements also disturb small creatures that become available to fish and other predators, making her an important link in the complex food web. During the dry season, when many wetlands disappear completely, the Mara River becomes a crucial refuge for water birds from across the region. Thousands of cranes, storks, herons, and other species congregate in the remaining pools, creating spectacular concentrations of bird life that rival anything found elsewhere in Africa. The crane's call is answered by others of her species scattered across the wetlands, their voices creating a chorus that speaks of the ancient connections between water, land, and sky. As she continues her patient hunting, her movements create small waves that spread outward in perfect circles, a reminder of how every action in nature creates ripples that extend far beyond their origin. As the crowned crane's call echoes across the water, it mingles with the sound of heavy wing beats approaching from the south. A marabou stork circles overhead, its massive wingspan casting shadows across the river as it searches for feeding opportunities below. This giant of the African skies has a wingspan that can exceed 10 feet, making it one of the largest flying birds in the world. Its appearance is unmistakable, with a bald head and neck that give it a vulture-like appearance, and a massive bill that can deliver devastating strikes to prey or carrion. The inflatable throat sac that hangs from its neck like a pendulum serves both as a display feature and as a cooling mechanism during the intense heat of the African day. The stork lands with surprising grace for such a large bird, its long legs extended to absorb the impact. It begins to wade through the shallows, its keen eyes scanning the water for fish, frogs, and any other aquatic life that might provide a meal. Marabou storks are opportunistic feeders, equally comfortable hunting live prey or scavenging carrion, their adaptability making them one of Africa's most successful large birds. Marabou storks are social birds, often feeding in groups that can number in the dozens. They have a complex social hierarchy based on size and age, with the largest individuals dominating the best feeding spots. Their intelligence is considerable, and they have been observed using tools and solving problems that challenge much smaller birds. During the dry season, marabou storks become crucial members of the scavenging community. They gather at lion kills and other carcasses, their powerful bills allowing them to access parts of the carcass that other scavengers cannot reach. Their presence at these feeding sites helps accelerate the decomposition process, returning nutrients to the ecosystem more quickly. The stork's breeding colonies are massive affairs, with hundreds of pairs nesting in tall trees along the riverbank. The nests are enormous platforms of sticks and debris, some reaching 6 feet across. The birds return to these same colonies year after year, adding to their nests until some structures become so large that they threaten to break the branches that support them. As an apex scavenger, the marabou stork plays a crucial role in preventing the spread of disease. Their powerful digestive systems can process carrion that would be toxic to most other animals, effectively cleaning the environment of potential sources of contamination. This service is particularly important during the dry season, when animal mortality is highest, and the concentration of carcasses could otherwise create serious health hazards. The stork continues its methodical hunting, each successful strike adding to its daily caloric intake. Its presence in the river system is a sign of ecological health, indicating that the aquatic ecosystem is productive enough to support large predators at the top of the food chain. While the marabou stork hunts in the shallows, its movements disturb the muddy bottom and send small creatures scurrying for cover. Among these, one of the most important but least visible inhabitants of the river system goes about its essential work. A troop of vervet monkeys descends from the fever trees that line the bank, their long tails helping them maintain balance as they navigate the complex three-dimensional world of the canopy. The alpha male leads the troop, his silver-gray coat and black face marking him as a mature individual in his prime. He weighs nearly 30 pounds, significantly larger than the females in his group, and his impressive canine teeth are displayed in a yawn that serves as both a stretch and a subtle threat display to any potential rivals. The vervet monkeys move through the trees with acrobatic grace, their hands and feet perfectly adapted for life in the branches. They communicate through a complex system of calls that includes specific alarm signals for different types of predators. Their famous leopard call is different from their eagle call, which is different again from their snake call, demonstrating a level of semantic communication that was once thought to be unique to humans. A young female with an infant clinging to her belly approaches the water's edge with obvious caution. The riverbank is dangerous territory for the monkeys, as crocodiles and other predators are always present. But the troop needs water, and the females with young are given priority access to the safest drinking spots. The infant monkey, only a few weeks old, maintains a death grip on its mother's long fur. Its survival depends entirely on this connection, and the mother will carry it everywhere for the first few months of its life. The other females in the troop help with childcare, a cooperative behavior that increases the survival rate of all the young in the group. Vervet monkeys are omnivorous, their diet including leaves, fruit, flowers, bark, and occasionally insects, eggs, and small vertebrates. They are particularly fond of the figs that grow on the massive trees along the riverbank, and they can often be seen making dangerous leaps between branches to reach the ripest fruit. The social structure of vervet monkey troops is matriarchal, with related females forming the core of the group. Males leave their birth troop when they reach maturity, seeking acceptance in other groups where they must fight for status and breeding rights. The competition among males is fierce, and only the strongest and most cunning individuals achieve reproductive success. These monkeys serve as important seed dispersers for the riverine forest. The fruits they eat are processed through their digestive systems and deposited in new locations, helping to maintain the genetic diversity of the plant community. Their feeding activities also help control insect populations, as they consume large quantities of caterpillars and other invertebrates that could otherwise damage the trees. The alpha male's sharp bark alerts the troop to potential danger, and within seconds, the entire group has melted back into the canopy. Their alarm was justified, as a large python has been spotted moving through the undergrowth below. The monkeys will wait in the safety of the trees until the threat has passed. Their patience and caution key elements in their survival strategy. Vervet monkeys are one of the most successful primates in Africa. their adaptability allowing them to thrive in environments ranging from dense forest to open savanna. Their intelligence and social cooperation make them formidable survivors, capable of learning from experience and passing knowledge from one generation to the next. As the vervet monkeys retreat into the canopy, their chittering calls gradually fade into the general din of forest life. The python that caused their alarm continues its slow progress through the undergrowth, but it is not the only large predator moving through the riverine forest. From deeper in the shadows comes the distinctive grunt of one of Africa's most dangerous animals. The Cape buffalo emerges from the thick vegetation like a living tank, his massive bulk parting the bushes with casual ease. This old bull weighs nearly 2,000 pounds, his body a monument to the raw power that has made buffalo one of the most feared animals in Africa. His curved horns, worn smooth by years of fighting, form a solid shield across the top of his skull that can deflect even rifle bullets. The buffalo's hide is scarred from countless battles, each mark telling a story of survival against lions, crocodiles, and other buffalo. His eyes, nearly hidden beneath his heavy brow, survey the riverbank with the alertness of an animal that has survived by never dropping his guard. Despite his massive size, he moves with surprising stealth, his wide hooves finding purchase on the muddy bank with practiced ease. He is followed by a small group of other old bulls, a bachelor herd of individuals who have left the main herd to live out their later years in the relative peace of the riverine forest. These old bulls are the most dangerous buffalo of all, their years of experience having taught them to fear nothing and trust no one. The buffalo approaches the water with the confidence of an animal that has few natural enemies. Even lions think twice before attacking a healthy adult buffalo, and crocodiles rarely attempt to take prey this large. His drinking is methodical and thorough, his massive tongue lapping up gallons of water while his ears remain constantly alert for the slightest sound that might indicate danger. A red-billed oxpecker lands on the buffalo's back, beginning the symbiotic relationship that benefits both species. The bird feeds on the ticks and other parasites that plague the buffalo, while the buffalo provides the bird with a reliable source of food and a mobile perch that gives access to insects stirred up by the massive hooves. Buffalo are ecosystem engineers. They're grazing and trampling, creating the shortgrass areas that are preferred by many other species. Their wallowing behavior creates depressions that fill with water during the rains, providing breeding sites for frogs and insects. Their dung fertilizes the soil, supporting the growth of nutritious grasses that feed countless other herbivores. The social structure of buffalo herds is complex, with dominant bulls controlling breeding rights while experienced cows make decisions about when and where the herd will move. The old bulls like this one have been forced out of the main herd by younger, stronger males, but their experience and wisdom often make them the most successful survivors. During the dry season, buffalo herds can number in the thousands, creating massive aggregations that are among the most impressive sights in Africa. These herds move across the landscape like black clouds, their collective trampling creating dust storms that can be seen for miles. The sound of their hooves creates a thunder that seems to make the earth itself tremble. The old bull finishes drinking and turns to rejoin his companions, his massive head swinging from side to side as he scans for threats. His departure leaves deep hoofprints in the mud, evidence of his visit that will remain long after he has disappeared back into the forest shadows. As the buffalo disappears into the thick riverine vegetation, the disturbance of his passage seems to awaken the forest itself. From the canopy above comes a new sound, a series of deep, resonant calls that echo through the trees like some ancient song. The sound grows closer, and soon the branches begin to move as a troop of olive baboons makes its way through the fever trees. The troop is led by a massive male whose intimidating presence commands respect from every other member of the group. He weighs nearly 100 pounds, his powerful frame covered in olive-gray fur that gives these baboons their name. His elongated muzzle is equipped with formidable canine teeth that rival those of many carnivores, and his aggressive displays can drive off predators much larger than himself. The baboon troop moves through the trees with practiced efficiency, their long arms and dexterous hands allowing them to navigate the complex architecture of the forest canopy. They are equally comfortable on the ground, their adaptation to terrestrial life making them one of the most successful primates in Africa. A female with a young infant clinging to her back demonstrates the remarkable parenting skills that make baboons such successful survivors. The infant's bright pink face and tiny hands mark it as very young, probably less than a month old. The mother will carry it constantly for the first few weeks of its life, never letting it out of arm's reach. The social dynamics of the baboon troop are complex and constantly changing. Alliances form and dissolve based on kinship, friendship, and immediate advantage. The troop's feeding behavior has a significant impact on the forest ecosystem. They disperse seeds through their droppings, helping to maintain the diversity of plant species. Their consumption of insects helps control populations that might otherwise damage trees and other vegetation. Their social grooming behaviors also help control parasite populations, both for themselves and for other species that benefit from their presence. During the dry season, baboons become crucial competitors with other species for access to water and the remaining fruit trees. Their intelligence and adaptability allow them to exploit resources that other animals cannot access. But this success sometimes brings them into conflict with elephants, buffalo, and other large herbivores. The alpha male's deep bark echoes through the forest, a territorial call that announces the troop's presence to other baboons in the area. The sound is answered by similar calls from neighboring troops, creating a communication network that extends for miles through the riverine forest. As the baboon troop continues its journey through the canopy, their calls gradually fade into the distance, leaving behind only the gentle sounds of the forest and the river. But their presence has been noted by other inhabitants of this complex ecosystem, including one of the most enigmatic and rarely seen predators in Africa. From the deep shadows of the riverine forest, where the canopy is so thick that sunlight barely penetrates to the ground, comes a movement so subtle that it might be dismissed as merely a shift in the dappled light. But the African python is very real, her massive coils moving with liquid grace through the undergrowth as she follows the scent trail of potential prey. This python is an ancient female, nearly 20 feet long and weighing over 200 pounds. Her diamond-patterned skin provides perfect camouflage among the fallen leaves and twisted roots of the forest floor. She moves without sound, her belly scales gripping the earth with microscopic precision that allows her to flow over obstacles like water. The python's heat-sensitive pits detect the warm-blooded prey that shares her forest habitat, giving her a supernatural ability to hunt in complete darkness. Her forked tongue flicks constantly, sampling the chemical signatures that tell her the story of every animal that has passed through her territory in the past several hours. She has been following the scent trail of a small antelope, a duiker that comes to the river to drink each evening just after sunset. The python's patience is legendary, and she is prepared to wait for hours or even days for the perfect opportunity to strike. Her metabolism is so efficient that she can survive for months between meals, allowing her to be supremely selective about her prey. The python's hunting strategy is based on ambush rather than pursuit. She positions herself along established game trails, her body arranged in loose coils that can explode into action in a fraction of a second. When prey comes within range, her strike is lightning fast, her powerful jaws clamping down on the victim, while her body coils around it in the deadly embrace that gives pythons their reputation. The constriction process is not crushing as commonly believed, but rather a precise application of pressure that prevents the prey from breathing. Each time the victim exhales, the python tightens her coils slightly until eventually the prey can no longer draw breath. The process is surprisingly quick and humane, with death occurring within minutes. Pythons are important predators in the African ecosystem, controlling populations of small and medium-sized mammals that might otherwise multiply beyond the carrying capacity of their habitat. Their presence indicates a healthy ecosystem, as they require large territories and abundant prey to survive. The female python's reproductive strategy is remarkable. She will lay up to 100 eggs, then coil around them for the entire incubation period, regulating their temperature through muscular contractions that can raise her body temperature several degrees above ambient. This dedication to her offspring represents one of the most sophisticated examples of parental care found in reptiles. As the python continues her patient stalk, her massive body moves through the forest with an ancient grace that speaks of millions of years of evolutionary perfection. She is a living link to the prehistoric past, a reminder that some designs are so perfect that they need no improvement. The python's passage through the forest creates barely a whisper of sound, but even this slight disturbance is enough to alert one of the forest's most sensitive inhabitants. High in the canopy, a colobus monkey freezes motionlessly, her black and white fur making her nearly invisible against the stark pattern of light and shadow created by the forest canopy. The colobus monkey's long white tail hangs down like a banner, its flowing fur catching the occasional beam of sunlight that penetrates the dense foliage. She weighs only about 20 pounds, but her acrobatic abilities allow her to move through the canopy with a grace that seems to defy gravity. Her hands lack thumbs, an adaptation that allows her to swing through the trees with hook-like grips that are perfectly suited for her arboreal lifestyle. She is part of a small troop that specializes in eating the leaves that other primates cannot digest. Her multi-chambered stomach, similar to that of a cow, contains bacteria that break down the cellulose in leaves, allowing her to extract nutrition from a food source that would be toxic to most other animals. This specialization has allowed colobus monkeys to occupy a unique niche in the forest ecosystem. The colobus monkey's feeding behavior is selective and methodical. She chooses only the youngest, most tender leaves, avoiding the older foliage that contains higher concentrations of toxic compounds. Her diet includes over 50 different species of trees, but she feeds on each one only at specific times of the year, when the chemical composition of the leaves is optimal. The monkey's black and white coloration serves multiple purposes. The stark contrast makes it difficult for predators to judge distance and movement in the dappled light of the forest canopy. The white markings also serve as visual signals to other members of her troop, allowing them to communicate across distances where vocal calls might not be effective. Colobus monkeys are among the most agile primates in Africa, capable of leaping distances of over 30 feet between trees. Their long tails act as stabilizers during these spectacular jumps, while their powerful hind legs provide the explosive force needed to launch their bodies across the gaps in the canopy. The social structure of colobus troops is relatively simple compared to other primates, with groups typically consisting of one adult male, several females, and their offspring. The male's role is primarily protective, defending the troop's territory against other males and watching for predators. The females do most of the foraging and childcare, their cooperative behavior ensuring the survival of the young. During the dry season, when many trees lose their leaves, colobus monkeys become increasingly dependent on the evergreen species that grow along the riverbank. The riverine forest provides crucial habitat during the harsh months when food is scarce elsewhere in the ecosystem. The colobus monkey's presence in the forest is an indicator of ecosystem health. These primates require large territories of intact forest to survive, and their populations are among the first to decline when habitat is degraded. One major threat is deforestation in the Mau forest, where the river begins. Logging, farming, and settlement have reduced forest cover, weakening the land's ability to regulate water flow. As a result, sedimentation and pollution have increased, harming aquatic life and making the water unsafe for surrounding communities. Agricultural growth is also playing a major role in altering the river system. As more land is cleared for crops and livestock, soil erosion worsens, and fertilizers and pesticides are washed into the river. These chemicals lower water quality, disturb aquatic ecosystems, and pose health risks to the people and animals who depend on the river. Wastewater from nearby settlements and tourist facilities adds to the pollution, intensifying the issue. Keeping livestock along the riverbanks introduces large quantities of organic waste, increasing nutrient levels in the water. This encourages the spread of invasive plant species, which decay and reduce oxygen levels, leading to fish deaths and foul odors. Mining and sand harvesting activities further destabilize the riverbanks and destroy natural habitats. Together, these pressures are having a severe impact. Water flow is declining, water quality is deteriorating, and wildlife migrations are being disrupted, including the famed wildebeest migration that supports the local tourism industry. If these trends persist, the Mara River may no longer be able to sustain the people and wildlife that rely on it, highlighting the urgent need for sustainable management and conservation. Mesmerized by the incredible wildlife of the Mara River? Show your love by hitting the like button and dropping a comment with your favorite animal. Sharing this video helps raise awareness and supports the protection of these breathtaking ecosystems. And don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss another unforgettable adventure into the wild.